Ready to sink your fangs and claws into some Spider-Man 2099 lore?
I'm Spider-Man.
Get it? He's got fangs and claws. It's not important. Miguel O'Hara has made quite a splash, which means a solo outing of his could be right over the horizon. Let's take a look at some comic storylines that need to be adapted for a Spider-Man 2099 movie. If there's one thing we love, it's a good origin story, and Miguel has a top-notch one. In Spider-Man 2099 number 1, Peter David and Rick Leonardi introduced Miguel as an Alchemax scientist. Alchemax, being the insidious company of the future that they are, forcibly addicted Miguel to a drug called Rapture, forcing his continued work for them. Being a skilled geneticist, Miguel tried to find a cure for his addiction, but foul play saw his DNA combined with that of a spider, transforming him into the Spider-Man of the future. It's important to know what drives a character, and when you realize how Miguel has been treated in the past, you start to understand his grumpy attitude. That's why we need his origin on the big screen. You know what they say, never meet your heroes. Unless you're trying to one-up them, of course.
How dare you point at me?
You were pointing first.
Peter David and Rick Leonardi also gave us the classic tale, Spider-Man 2099 meets Spider-Man. When the year isn't needed after your name, you know you're the original. In this story, Peter Parker and Miguel O'Hara switch places in their respective timelines, but ultimately have to defeat the Hobgoblin from the year 2211, his mission being to eradicate any version of Spider-Man across the multiverse. We've seen Miguel work alongside several different Spider variants, but what I want to see is a multiversal buddy cop film alongside the original variant that spawned everyone else. Miguel O'Hara is a fun multiversal character, but his own 2099 timeline is chock full of stories worth seeing. Take Fall of the Hammer, for example. Alchemax, the same evil company responsible for the creation of Spider-Man 2099, created their own line of new gods, known as the Aesir, along with a floating city called Valhalla. This crossover event paired Miguel with characters like Punisher 2099 and X-Men 2099, among others. An adaptation of this story where Miguel is forced to go up against Alchemax and their legion of super soldier enhanced gods could introduce us to the rest of the 2099 universe, which could lead to even further spin-offs from there. It's an endless cycle. As classic of a character that Miguel has become, some of his villains have ridden right along with him. These villains, of course, being alternate futuristic versions of villains from the original Spider-Man's time. One of the most compelling is Venom 2099. The same mutated Venom symbiote from the modern day still exists in 2099, and it continued its annoying habit of choosing questionable hosts.
Okay.
In 2099, that man is Kron Stone. Kron is Miguel's childhood rival, eventually revealed to be his half-brother and the son of his arch-enemy. After being left for dead by the Punisher 2099, the Venom symbiote bonded to Kron, healing him and forming a deadly new pair. This story would provide us with a villain that hits way too close to home for Miguel, combined with a great new take on a classic character. The second run of Spider-Man 2099 came during the all-new Marvel Now era. Prior to this, Miguel O'Hara had been having several time-hopping adventures, until he was trapped in the present day by his father. The all-new Marvel Now story centers around Miguel O'Hara acting as the Spider-Man of Peter Parker's era. He spent a great deal of time here, so much time that he set up a life, and was even given a new suit by Peter Parker to welcome him to the team of heroes of the present day. Seeing Miguel's futuristic city would be great, but watching him fight alongside Spidey against villains we already know could be even better. A great story to adapt that could eventually be a satisfying end to Miguel's story would be 2099 Manifest Destiny. Around this time, Marvel had basically canceled the 2099 universe. It was Manifest Destiny that sought to put a nice bow on things. In this story, Miguel encounters Steve Rogers, a man with a nasty habit of freezing himself for years at a time. The original Steve Rogers awakens in 2099, having gained the powers of Thor.
I knew it.
In this story, Steve wills the hammer Mjolnir to Miguel, making him worthy. With the power of the hammer, Miguel leads his people to a peaceful future. Sounds like a great ending to me. Most people would like to see Miguel in a solo adventure following his appearances in the Spider-Verse franchise, but some multiverse team-up stories are just too good. In one edition, a variant of Miguel has his identity exposed by a powerful mutant named Proteus. Miguel joins a powerful multiverse team known as the Exiles. Together, the team has to hunt down Proteus to stop him from destroying other worlds and timelines. This could launch a successful Exiles franchise that could bring us to all corners of currently existing Marvel properties. Finally, a new take on Miguel's origin could be the way to go. A new variant appeared in Spider-Man 2099 Exodus. The Exodus story sees Miguel as a happy employee of Alchemax, who has not yet become Spider-Man. This version keeps having dreams and eventually speaks to his older self, learning that something about this version of the 2099 timeline is just off. Miguel eventually embraces his identity as Spider-Man and even forms an all-new team of futuristic Avengers. If you're looking to update things, this origin could be the best option. No matter the story, we're all down for more Spider-Man 2099 on the big screen. Which comic story do you think would make the best adaptation for Miguel O'Hara's next adventure?